Hey everyone, it's Kong again with another episode of Should You Summon. As always, I'm going to be presenting high-level overviews to help you decide whether this banner is worth your hard-earned vouchers and crystals. So this month we've got the launch of two new Langrisser Mobile OCs, Azusa and Oboro. Continuing the trend of the past few major updates, this one will run for the entire month, from June 16th to July 13th. As a rate-up banner, you have a 40% chance to get each on-banner character, with the remaining 20% reserved for any other hero in the regular summoning pool. These characters are kind of interesting and unique, so I'll have a lot more to say about them than usual, so let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have Azusa. Azusa is a physical and magical DPS whose gimmick revolves around this duality between attack-based physical attacks and int-based magical attacks. Here's what I mean by that. Her talent gives her an innate attack boost, and it makes her int equal to her attack. She also starts battle with +3 movement and an undispellable defensive buff that makes incoming attacks use the weaker of the attacker's attack stats. So basically, if you're getting attacked by Epsilon, it's going to be a magical attack using Epsilon's int. If you're getting attacked by a Lucretia, for example, it's going to be a physical attack using Lucretia's attack stat. This is very annoying to your enemy, and it can make Azusa pretty durable for that one attack at least. Once she takes a hit with this reversey changey shield, it drops off, and you have to jump through hoops to restore it. It's not too complicated though. You just have to do a physical attack and do a magical attack. It doesn't matter what order. After you've done one attack of each type, you heal 100% of your HP at 6 stars, and you get your shield back. So, obviously, if you need to do physical and magical attacks, she must have both, right? Yup. Her 3-cost skill is basically a 1.7 times damage attack that lets you choose whether you want it to be physical or magical. It converts 3 buffs into debuffs, inflicts cannot guard, heals you, and if you get a kill with it, it reduces its cooldown by 3, so it's a pretty good all-purpose aggressive skill. She also has a 2-cost skill that does pretty much the same thing, just smaller in scale, so her skill economy is actually pretty good for keeping her shield active. She's a member of Origins of Light, buffed by Dehart, Jugler, and Freya, Mythical Realm, buffed by Gizaroth and the Sage of the Trees, and Strategic Masters, buffed by Ultimuller and Lanford. For bonds, she unlocks the defensive bond for the upcoming new character Kaguya, and she needs the Archon of the Moon for her own defensive bond, and Bannermate Oboro for her attack bond. For content, in PvE, she's on faction for Valkyrie and Phoenix in the Eternal Temple, and she hasn't appeared in any top scoring teams in Ancient Beckoning. She can be a fine general-purpose PvE unit. In PvP, for all the reasons I described in her intro, she can be a pretty strong option. She's not just all about that shield. Her 3C can take a big chunk out of tanky units, and if you keep her protected in a tank push style box, it can be difficult for a simple assassin to get rid of her. Next up we have Oboro. Oboro is a unique character who stands around charging up for a number of turns before transforming into an unstoppable killing machine. His talent boosts damage dealt, and if he has no soldiers, enemy soldiers deal significantly less damage, and he gets a shield worth 25% of his HP after battle. So he's cool with having no troops. His talent also makes him explode when he dies, dealing 0.5 times damage to the person who killed him, and permanently increasing their damage taken. His most important core skill is his 2-cost transformation. When you trigger this skill, you're committing to a number of turns of Oboro not being able to move or attack, but he's still vulnerable to enemies, so you do have to protect him. When he's in this state, the only 2 things he can do are end turn to keep charging up, or complete his transformation. Every time you end a turn, he gets a stack that gives +1 mobility and +7% to attack, defense, and magic defense, as well as one unique effect. After 1 turn, you get some self-healing after an attack. After 2 turns, you get +2 unit range. After 3 turns, you get immunity to debuffs. And after 4 turns, you get extra damage dealt and guard ignore. So you can complete the transformation anytime during those 4 turns, but obviously there are benefits if you keep charging up longer. Once you do choose to complete the transformation, you sacrifice all your soldiers. Remember that bit in his talent about enemy soldiers dealing less damage when he has no soldiers? you get 30% additional max HP, you get even more healing after battle, you get an additional attack in battle, and you get flying movement type. Alright, so now he's a mobile, flying, double-attacking, guard-ignoring beast. So what does he do next? His 3-cost skill passively increases his damage dealt even more if he enters battle with no soldiers, and it makes his on-death explosion do up to 100% more damage. As an active skill, it's a single target attack that also does a burst of AoE afterwards, with a span increased by 1 for every turn you spent charging up your transformation. He's a member of Origins of Light buffed by Dehart, Jugler, and Freya, Mythical Realm buffed by Gizaroth and Sage of the Trees, and Yales Legends buffed by Landius and Sigma. For bonds, he unlocks the attack bond for his banner mate Azusa, and for his own bonds he needs Emperor Lavina for his defensive bond and Mariandel for his attack bond. For content, in PvE, he's on faction for Phoenix and Valkyrie in the Eternal Temple, and he actually finds himself as a new meta member of the top scoring teams against Needhog and Jormungandr in Ancient Beckoning. In most run-of-the-mill PvE content, he might be a bit too slow to keep up, but on the other hand it should be easier to give him the time and space to complete his transformation and then go on a rampage if you just want to have fun with him. Obviously, he'll also be a nightmare in PvP. Because you need to keep him safe during his transformation, he's probably going to be easiest to use in tank push teams, and he should be a great way of punishing other tank push teams when he's fully charged up. He's not going to completely shake up the meta, but you're definitely going to see people starting to slot him into teams where he'll work well, which means he's going to be a weapon that people are going to have to learn how to deal with. Alright, that takes us to the notes for noobs. Azusa is a strong option in PvP. She's not a must-run, but she'll be a side grade for a lot of units out there in certain boxes. She's good, but not absolutely necessary. Oboro is another strong option for PvP, and his value is increased even more by the fact that he sees actual endgame meta use in PvE as well. He won't slot easily into every team, but if you do have the kind of team that can benefit from him, and you know who you are, you don't need to ask me. One thing I will say about him is that he's a very unique unit with unique mechanics, and those kinds of units have a funny way of popping up and becoming useful in strange, unexpected situations. I don't think he's a must-summon for everyone, especially newer players, but all of these points add up to him being a solid value summon. Anyway, let's move right along to my usual reminder about upcoming banners. Alright, listen, because of the transplanted Kruger and Werner banner from a few weeks ago, it's not going to be easy to predict what we're getting this month. Actually, we'll have a much clearer picture as soon as the update patch is applied. Just open up the Echo of Light skin pack, and if the Yu Yu Hakusho characters are in there, we're getting the collab. And if they're not in there, it's probably, but not necessarily, cancelled. So that'll dictate what we're summoning next week. It'll either be the return of an old collab, or it'll be those missing characters from last month. Other than this strange mystery situation, we're also supposed to be getting a normal raid-up banner featuring Toa and Cortez. The week after that is supposed to be a Destiny banner featuring Knight of Mystery, Hilda, and Rainforce, and the return of the limited Watham solo banner. The final week of the update is supposed to feature double Destiny banners with Autocrato, Maya, and Nomi, and Bozel, Luna, and Liana. Although that week is also a potential candidate for the return of the missing Kruger and Werner banner as well. Alright, that's it for this episode, so let us know on the Discord or in the comments who you're summoning for and who you ended up getting. I had a comfortable month of skipping most banners, so I'll be summoning for a copy of each of these, mainly for collection purposes. I don't think they really fit into my PvP box. Although in the long term I will try to increase my scores in Ancient Beckoning, so I'll probably have to build Oboro for that eventually. And actually, on that note, if you've been watching for any length of time, you know that I've been meticulously keeping track of my summons since I started playing the game way back on day 1. Well, this week I should be hitting my 10,000th summon, and that's a pretty momentous occasion, so I think I'm going to live stream it, and we'll see if anything cool happens. So tune in right here on YouTube, or over on Twitch, on Thursday, just after the banner drops, and I've actually got about 160 summons before I hit that 10,000 mark. So we'll see if I have great luck and I get maybe multiple SSRs in that span of time. Or if not, that's like one character and a pity. So we'll see what happens on Thursday. Thank you so much for watching, I wish you all the best of luck, and I'll catch you in the next Should You Summon. Extra special thanks, of course, to our Langrisser tier channel members for generously supporting the channel directly. Shout out to Levitt, Derek Gunderson, Kate Soon, Jared Portela, Jerome Meyer, Shara Ilimirius, and Harambe. Thanks so much for your support, everyone.